So Fortnite OG has been out for almost a month at this point as we come down the home stretch of December and enter into January in just a few short days. And with that, the reception of Fortnite OG has been mixed, to put it lightly. Some people love it, others hate it. Some are annoyed with the inconsistencies, while others just feel that the game mode is too slow and there aren't enough meds. And while all points are valid to some degree, they need to take a look and actually see that the purpose of OG is not to serve the new player base. The majority of the complaints about the shields and the lack of mobility are all coming from the more modern player base who's used to chapters 4, 5, 6, where there's lots of movement, there's cars, there's all of those crazy rift items and NPCs where you can just buy a rift. There's so much more mobility. All of the crazy typhoon blades and different types of grapplers. There's so much more movement in the newer chapters, and in OG, there's none of that. There is also way more healing in the later chapters of the game than there are in OG Chapter 1 right now. And that's as intended. This is what Day 1 was like. There was not a lot of meds. Shields were scarce. That's what Day 1 Fortnite was like. But people have been so used to all of the quality of life that we've gained over the years that they forgot just how really poor the quality was before that. But that's what the OG players want. We're enjoying OG. We love it. I, for one, who started mid-season 6, I've been loving this. This is the most fun I've had on the game since Chapter 1 ended. Because I left the game halfway through Chapter 2 Season 1. It just wasn't the game I fell in love with, so I left. And I came back with OG. But you'll notice most of the complaints about Fortnite OG are coming from the newer player base because of the abilities and quality of life and mobility that it's lacking. Whereas the OGs, the complaints you're seeing from them are more minuscule, not too crazy important things like, can we have the original UI with the health bar in the middle of the screen? Why are only some of the weapon icons OG and not all of them? Can we have the original sniper model for the epic and legendary bolt action and rocket launcher instead of the Chapter 2 models? There's a difference in the level of complaints you're seeing from OGs than from those of the newer chapters. And that's where the biggest divide is happening. The new players need to realize that this is okay and this is what the OGs want. We don't want crazy cars and insane abilities or the augments that Chapter 4 had. We don't want any of that. We just want the simple base mechanics. We don't need all of the flashy extra bells and whistles that the newer chapters have given, and while they are cool, that's not the game we grew up with or the game that we fell in love with. We're playing the mode that is bringing back what we loved about the game, a simpler time. Yes, the lack of shields is a bit of a problem, but that's how it was in Chapter 1 Season 1. There were no minis. Shields were scarce. People were constantly limping into the endgame with only a little bit of health and most of the time no shield. And that's just how it was. Because they fixed that going into Season 2. Then that's when they added the mini shield to address that problem. And Epic has stated they're trying to do and as faithful as they can recreation of the Chapter 1 experience through all of its ups and its downs. And as someone who played back then, I really appreciate that, because they're actually trying to appease the community that they are trying to draw back to the game. And I think that's the biggest point that people need to understand. They are advertising to a separate community than you guys. They're trying to advertise and draw back in the OGs. They don't care about you newer guys because they already have you. You're playing Chapter 6. You're playing Reload if you'd rather. You're playing Lego, Festival, or Rocket Racing if you'd rather. They already have you guys. They don't need to continue to keep you hooked on the game because they have the content that's working for you guys. Look at Chapter 6. It's amazing. I've played it a little bit myself. It's not a bad season. But it's just not the season I want to play, and it's not the type of Fortnite that I want to play. I would rather play OG. And the OG that they've given us is the kind of OG the older players actually want. And it's time for the newer Fortnite players to finally get that through their heads. This is not about them. This is about the OGs. It's about us playing the game we remember, and not you constantly complaining that this is terrible, this sucks. This is the kind of mode that the OGs enjoy and want, and while there are some things that need to be polished and it's not perfect, this is the kind of mode that we have been asking for and wanting, and the player numbers reflect that. So is Fortnite OG perfect? Absolutely not. Are there improvements to be made? Absolutely. But is it a good recreation of the OG experience that appeals to the OG community that they're trying to draw back to the game? Yes, it absolutely is, and they're doing a good job. But that's all for me. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to start creating a whole lot more Fortnite content on the channel now that OG is back and that this is the game that I remember and fell in love with and enjoyed playing. But with all that said, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.